What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Real Life on the Wellspring podcast. This podcast or these episodes are all about having real conversations with real people about actually following Christ. What does that look like in my real life? Because at church, you hear a lot of messages, we read a lot of scriptures, and all that is good. But how does this make its way into my real life? And so with me today is my friend Dora. Thank you for joining me and having this conversation with me. And I want to start off the conversation with first thanking you to be here, and then second saying one of the things that I've really enjoyed about getting to know you is that there's only one version of you. It seems like, which is what we're going to talk about today, is being authentic. And so you and I have had a handful of conversations about authenticity. That's a buzzword in the church. Like, I want to find an authentic group of people. That's what everybody says that they're looking for. At Wellspring, we talk about real life all the time. So realness and authenticity, a lot of times is what people say that they are looking for in church, or that's what they desire. But there's this weird thing that seems to happen where one of the largest critiques that you see from people who are outside of the church is that the church is just full of fake people. And that seems like it shouldn't be that way. If everybody is drawn to, I just want authenticity and I want to be real, that's what I'm looking for. But then the largest critique that you hear again and again is like, it's just fake people. That doesn't really make sense.
Right.
And this is a conversation that you and I have kind of had a little bit of already. But from your perspective, you've been a Christ follower for how long?
For a long time.
For a long time. Nice. Yeah.
Over 40 years. Let's
Oh
say.
yeah, that is a lot. So you started
born.
following Christ before you were born.
Yes.
I understand.
No, probably 30 years.
Yeah, nice. So in your perspective, you've been in the Pensacola area for the last
25 years
25
now.
years, yeah. And one of the things that you and I have talked about is it seems difficult to find authentic relationships and people being authentic in religious environments. Why do you think that is?
Well, first of all, the first time I came to America, I noticed that the church in America is very different from the church in Italy. Now, I'm not Catholic, so I grew up actually in an evangelical family, which was when somebody get born again Christian, very accept Jesus in their life, is this humongous change, because you live your old life and follow Christ with all your heart, mind, and soul. So that is my prospect about be a follower of Christ, be passionate, be in love with Jesus, and follow him. And so and then be the church like the New Testament church, where everybody love each other, spend time together, follow the commandment of Christ. So when I first arrived to America and I went to the church here, I thought it was a show.
Are you saying we don't do that? Are you saying that we don't love each other and follow the commands of Christ and things like that? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that in practice, in the reality, it doesn't show, in the sense that you go to church and then everybody leaves. There is that sense of community, of belonging, because everybody. It's like the Catholic Church in Italy. Everybody goes to church and nobody knows each other, and then you leave.
Yeah, and it could seem very cultural. This is just a cultural experience, especially in Pensacola.
Yes.
You've experienced that last 25 years.
Yeah, and then so everybody say they are Christian, and they come to church and they pretend to be a Christian, but then doesn't show the fruits. The Bible says you recognize them from the fruit. And I think everybody has their own problems inside, and they want to hide, and they want to project somebody they are not. And so they live this fake life of being Christian, but in reality, it's just a show.
Yeah, and like I've been guilty of that same thing. Certainly, like especially, and we can either tiptoe around pastors or we can hit it head on if you'd like. But typically, like what you're describing isn't something that is just only one certain type of person experiences that in church, where they project to be something they're not. Like there's as a pastor, I've done that. As someone who has worked with several pastors, I have seen that, where there's a Sunday version of you, and then there's a Monday version of you, and those are not the same version. And it seems like there's all this pressure that people have on themselves to perform. You use that word. It seemed like a big performance. There's so much pressure to perform and be something that they aren't actually. And I think there's two ways to look at that. Like one of them, like what you said, is there's one way to look at it of like, man, that person just isn't a Christian at all. Like they're just pretending like they're a Christian and they're actually not.
Yes.
And then I think that there are people who are Christ followers, but I think they carry around so much shame and guilt from maybe the messaging of the church that they attended or that they grew up hearing. That they carry around so much shame and guilt that they couldn't dare be the authentic version of themselves because
They care too much what other people think.
right, yeah, they'll be rejected, right? And there's this big thing where it's like, hey, I'll accept the fake version of you on Sunday if you'll accept the fake version of me on Sunday, and then we can actually hash out this issue on Monday. Like, like we could talk about how we really feel later. But in this environment or when we're around these certain people, we just have to pretend. And what you're describing, I think, is real and really sad.
It is really sad because we all children of God, and if each one of us life is being transformed by Christ, right? If you like, I remember when I first I accepted Jesus in my life. I was so passionate. That was Jesus was the love of my life, and I want to tell everybody about it. And like a little child, I had a faith like a little child, and I went and be a missionary because I see the lost and people dying, and I really care for people. I really mean what I say, but that was built, my personal relationship with Christ. That it's cultivated daily. I mean, daily the Bible says, take your cross and follow Jesus. We all struggle, we all have problems, but it all started with daily, like your relationship with Christ, and then the presence of God that goes before you. And so when you have that and you are strong and anchored in Jesus Christ, then you don't really care what other people think because you want to please the Lord.
Right.
I'm worried about like what Jesus think about me, not what other people think about me.
Well, and even more, you can settle in the fact knowing that like, no, you are loved by him.
Yeah.
And he is pleased with you. Yeah. And that's the thing that's, gosh, like I'm understanding what you're saying, in a way that it's like, I can even think about like examples in my own life where, I feel like I have to be something that I'm not perfect.
What nobody is.
Yeah, right. But I feel like I should be because aren't I following Jesus? Like, aren't I being transformed by Jesus? Like, oh no, I'm not perfect. I can't let anyone know that because if anyone finds out that I'm not perfect, then I'm going to be some sort of hypocrite or something.
Jesus came for the imperfect people, for the worst one.
No one thinks you're perfect anyway.
Right,
like, no one has ever thought that.
Yeah.
No one has ever looked at me and been like, you know what, Brian's he's perfect. He doesn't mess up at all, and he's just like sinless perfection. Yeah. Like, there's this idea, I think, it's a false idea, that is, if I'm a Christian, I'm perfect. Like, and that's the expectation.
Well, nobody can ever be perfect, so people feel like they're depressed because if they're ever gonna reach that perfection, and then they feel like I can't be a Christian, and that's what they figure. Maybe.
The whole reason why I'm a Christian is because I'm not perfect.
Exactly.
Like, that's the whole reason.
Absolutely.
But there's this weird thing that happens in our minds, and even gets, I think, taught, and even more than taught, like gets caught in relationships and how you relate to one another, and little things that are said in churches and about about how you should live and all this stuff, which is true. Like, I'm not saying like, no, God doesn't care if you're like a drunk fornicator out there all the time. Like, he's happy about that. He's fired up about. I'm not saying that at all.
Okay.
Like, but I am saying that I'm not perfect, and no one has ever thought I was perfect. And a Christian is not a perfect person. I'm a Christian because I'm not a perfect person, and I'm following Christ so I can be transformed more and more day after day, hopefully into his image. But that's not going to happen overnight, and that might hopefully it happens by the time I'm dead.
It's definitely is a journey to walk with the Lord. Every day, we fail, but the Lord is always there, ready to lift us up and be there with us and walk. That's why, it's very important to have a support of the body of Christ, and to have a church that support each other.
Yeah.
And have a pastor that understand and also be an influence and encourage, because nobody's success alone.
Right.
We all need one another, as a body of Christ, like my hand, we need, God created our body perfect. So we need the feet, the hands, the head. We all need, and it's why the body of Christ is complete if each one help each other.
Yeah.
And so I'd be more encouraged that way.
Yeah, I've at Wellspring, I've been teaching through the Book of Acts, and I've read through the Book of Acts 100 times, but I've never taught like verse by verse through the Book of Acts to our congregation before. And one of the things that I was surprised by is how consistent, like over and over and over, the theme of encouragement is, and how like absent I think that has been in my church experience. Like, having been in a leadership role in church for the last 17 years of my life, like I'm really shocked how often encouragement comes up in the Book of Acts, and how like devoid of encouragement a lot of my church experience has been. A lot of it has been about condemning you.
Absolutely. I had a horrible experience when I was going through my divorce.
Yeah.
I felt like, my girlfriend, they disappear because now they were afraid that I was still their husband or something. I don't know. I was like, why you guys all disappear?
Yeah.
Like, where am I?
What's one of those things? Like, you and I both are have been through divorce, and it's terrible.
It
like
is
I
terrible.
wouldn't. It is not on my recommendation list, for sure. But it's one of those things where, it seems like condemnation can come really quick, because that, like, you went through something. Whether you went through something or you did something, this in a divorce, like, there's, no matter how it comes about, like, there's two parts in all of it, But it's one of those things where we're so fast to condemn someone when they're going through anything, and so slow to encourage people.
Yeah.
But when I see in the Book of Acts, like we've taught through since January at Wellspring, man, it is over and over and over again encouragement. And what you're talking about is the reason why people aren't authentic is because they feel like they're going to be condemned and not supported and encouraged if they reveal their authentic self.
Yeah.
If it's like, hey, you know what? I get really angry sometimes. And so I have to pretend like I'm never angry. Oh, I don't get angry. No, I don't get that mad. Because if I let people know, or if people find out, hey, I get really angry sometimes, they're going to be like, oh, well, you just have an anger issue. And that's so bad. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I say cuss words sometimes. It's like, oh, you shouldn't let any wicked thing come out of your mouth. Like, you're a Christian. How dare you? And it's like, oh, I'm not perfect.
Yeah,
Like,
nobody's perfect.
encourage me. Don't condemn me.
Absolutely.
That's the wild part.
Absolutely, yes. It's sad that because like I had this experience that when so I'm from Italy, and when my ex-husband left me, my two small kids, my whole family lived in Italy, and I was going to this church, and I was asking for help, and nobody was telling me, oh, you need to call a counseling line. And back then, I didn't have any money, and my ex-husband took my credit card, my bank account. And so I called the radio station. I called the Christian radio station to ask them for some help and some advice because there was nobody there that could help me and support me. It was really, really sad. And, you know, you have this humongous church here that should help and support. But I feel like when somebody needs help, you don't have time for that because it costs money. It seems like the church here is a business, you know.
Right. Well,
they don't have time.
If you give enough money, we could
yeah,
help you.
or if they have, you give money,
You know,
exactly. You have
yeah.
to pay for it.
Yeah, if you have
for counsel,
yeah,
you
if
have to pay.
if you
Absolutely
have enough,
shocking.
if you have enough money, we can help you. But if you don't, sorry. Yeah, that's one of the things. Again, like just teaching through Acts is one of the things that you see. Is like, man, no, people are just there for each other, because that's what we do. Like we're there for each other. Like we encourage each other, and I think, as a pastor, when I look at, you know, and there's lots of people who don't go to church now, wouldn't go to church now, went to church before but won't ever go to one again.
Right.
And you look at that, and it's really easy to be like, oh, well, that's just because we can cut. Pastors are really great at coming up with excuses.
Right.
I know because I am one. But we can come up with a lot of excuses as to why that's happening, instead of maybe taking a second and realizing some of the people who need help, we don't care to help. We don't want to support or encourage people because it's easier to condemn than it is to encourage and support people.
Yeah, it's sad.
Like, yeah.
It's really sad because there are so many people out there that are hurtful, you know. And if you even though go to Walmart, I used to go to Walmart and stop people in the parking lot and just say, "Can I pray for you?" And people like start crying, tell you all their problems, just because somebody care, you know, and they are longing for somebody to talk to or care. And one thing shocking me, there are so many churches here in Pensacola. What is that now? 700 churches every corner?
Yeah, there's more churches in Escambia County than any other, per capita, than any other county in America. This is the most concentrated place for churches.
Yes. I was, when I first came here, it was like a church in every corner. Like 25 years ago, I think they were like 700. I don't know, maybe now they're more than that.
Probably, yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, and then one thing I also noticed that the church should go outside the walls, you know, go on the street, help people instead of, you know, bringing people to church. Yes, it's important, but also go out and do ministry.
Well, and I think there's like, I think a lot of those issues that you're talking about it circles around the fact that people aren't, they don't feel like the church is a safe place for them to be authentic. Like you mentioned, like, oh yeah, if I saw somebody and like ask them if I can pray for them, it's like, well, Dora, only the perfect people can do that.
Oh,
like,
no.
And so if you're messed up, like if you have any sin in your life, if you're not, unless you're perfect, you can't pray for anyone. Like we don't say that, but we think it. And like as a person who sits there and you say, oh yeah, well, no, I saw somebody in the parking lot and I prayed for them. You're like, oh, well, I mean, I couldn't do that because all the reasons that pop into my head as to why I can't. And most of them are related to some guilt or shame. And like it cripples the church from being the church, like accomplishing the mission of Jesus, because we are dominated by guilt and shame because we don't feel like the church is a safe place to be our authentic self. And so it cripples the mission, and people don't do that because they don't feel qualified to do it. And it's like, man, I don't feel qualified to do anything that
it's so
I'm
sad.
doing.
I guess we have to change the culture of the church.
Honestly, that's the reason why we even started. I even started Wellspring was because having had years of church experience in different sizes and contexts globally and different things, and I saw a million really, really great things But there's also some things that are like, man, I just don't think it has to be that way. And some of that is what some of that is what you're talking about, what this whole conversation is about, and what the name of this show is on the podcast is real life. It's just, I don't feel like I can be authentic because if you don't encourage and support me, like if you're a Christ follower and you're like me and you don't encourage and support me, and I know that you don't have it all together, I know that you're not perfect, and you don't encourage and support me, and God, who's perfect, like, man, what does he think about me? Like, he has to think that I'm terrible. Like, I'm the worst Christ follower ever. I don't have any business to even be in the church. And it's like, man, when that is the messaging that works its way into our minds and into our hearts, like, of course, like, you're not going to see the church being the church. Of course, there's going to be a million different church scandals with guys who are like running around with other women and running around on money and doing all kinds of stuff. You know, like of course that's what's going to happen because you can't be your authentic self. But I think so this is where we can wrap up the conversation is, so if you're listening to this, or you're like you and I, and we see like, oh man, like I want to be authentic. I want other people to be authentic. Like, how does someone live like that? How does someone make that shift from going like, you know, oh, I'm not perfect, so I can't pray for someone. Oh, I have to pretend so I can belong. Like, how does a person make that shift to stop doing that? Because it's easy to say, well, just stop.
Yeah.
But like, how?
Well, all things are possible through Christ to give me strength, number one. And then is that just come back to the basic. You know, the Bible said to be like a little child. Like, children are very authentic because they are simple and they ask. So, you know, I feel like if you ask your father and you repent and say, Lord, help me to be more like you and be authentic, and I wanted you in me to shine, and I want people to see me and give me the grace to make this happen. You can be authentic. I remember when I was missionary, I didn't speak any English. I mean, very barely English, and I was trying to witness to people with my Italian dictionary and English dictionary, and I was just so passionate about it. And I was like, Lord, how can I do this? And the Lord said, doesn't matter who you are. The important thing who I am. And I'll make you able to do anything I call you to do. So I feel like if everybody humble themselves and let God live in their life and bring all the burden to him and all the problems. And when you feel with the love of Jesus, that's how your life change. And you can be authentic and genuine because you're trying to be like him and you're not worried about what other people think. You know, that has been pretty much my motto, because I want to please the Lord more than want to please people. And I think that this teaching should be more in the church, maybe helping people to come back to the basic, to the cross, and then Jesus in you, the hope of glory, and he can transform your life and you can be more authentic.
It's like a very simple, like, gospel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's not like, we tend to make things really complicated.
Yes.
Even in church, like, churches tend to make things complicated, and we have all our little fancy systems that you can be a part of, and we'll put you in a lanyard and a T-shirt, and, you know, here's all the 10,000 things that we do as a church, and I think all that's great, but like, it's actually a very simple message. Like, it's a very simple gospel. The thing that you said about like coming to him like a child, I thought about like I have daughters, and the crazy thing about having kids, just generally, is like how much you can like learn about how God thinks about you, or even like, what does coming to him like a child mean? Is like, even when my daughters don't do the right thing, I still love them.
Absolutely.
And even when this is something cool about like coming to him as a child, even when I discipline my child, Like even when I have to discipline them, get onto them, whatever.
Right.
You know what the wild thing that they do is? Like they'll hug me.
Absolutely. Because they know you love them.
Yes, they'll hug me. Like
Yes.
they'll come to me and tell me that they love me.
Yeah,
Like
'cause
even if they've done something wrong and I've disciplined them,
yes.
they'll still come to me and hug me and tell me that they love me. But the way that we relate to one another in the church makes us feel like we can't do that with God. Like if I'm one of his children and I've messed up, I can't come to him and hug him and tell him I love him and keep on moving through life. I have to carry this shame or this mask and pretend, and it just escalates from there. And you have people in the church that are like, oh yeah, I've been a Christ follower for 35 years. And it's like, yeah, but you're nothing like him.
Yeah, it's very sad. It comes almost in my mind, like, so the whole message, the gospel message is grace.
Yeah.
You know, be free by the grace of God and the love of God. Seems like almost like Catholic church things. They have to repent and do all this Ave Maria, like 20 of them, and then they have to go to confession, then they have to get Jesus to forgive them. And to, it's so sad because actually a lot of people left Europe, they came here so they can be free to preach the gospel and to exercise their faith. And it's sad how this society, how the gospel has been twisted and how people think now, it's just very sad. And so this is, I'm glad that you as a pastor bringing this up to make a change in the church. And
yeah, I mean, and it's one of those things, like I'm not interested in changing somebody else's church because I don't go to that church. But it's one of those things of like, man, I just want that so desperately for me.
Yeah.
Like I want to be able to have authentic community. Like if you read, there's a ton of studies out there that'll show you that like people that work at churches on church staffs, and if you're on a church staff and you're listening to this, I know you're lonely. Like the people on church staffs, pastors are some of the most lonely people in the world because they have this mentality of like, I can't be authentic. I can't be the real version of myself. And when I lead like that, what do I expect everyone in my church to be like?
Right.
Like if I'm living and leading, like I can't have any authentic relationships and I can't be the real version of myself. Of course, everyone in my church is going to do the same thing. Like, of course, they're all going to have shallow relationships that aren't real. Of course, they're not going to be the real version of themselves anywhere. And they show up to church with like their like Sunday smile, and it's like everybody's playing morning show television. And it's like, none of that is real. Anything that you see on morning television or late night television is real. All of it's fake.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing as Instagram. It's all fake. It's like, nobody wants that, but it's what we all do. And like the whole message of the gospel, what you're talking about, grace, is that I'm not a Christian because I'm perfect. I'm a Christian because I'm not. Like that's the exact reason why I'm a Christ follower. Is because I am not, and I need to follow him because it's the only chance I have at having real, authentic relationships, of having anything that's healthy or normal, is because I'm following him. But yeah. Thanks for coming in and having that conversation.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
No, it was fun. If you guys enjoyed this, share it. Thanks for listening and hanging out with us, and be on the lookout for more episodes of Real Life on the Wellspring podcast. If you're in Pensacola, swing by Wellspring. We meet Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. at the Bear Levin Studer YMCA. Come get wild with us. It'll be a great morning. But love you guys. See you later.